Hello, and welcome to another interview. Today we have one member of Cosmos Wings, Cosmos Lantern. That team has Jay Jaquavis. Was that what it was? Tell me if
Yeah,
I messed it up already.
yeah, Jaquavis.
Jaquavis in the top lane, T Splash in the jungle, Elsa from Frozen or Pyrus in the mid lane, Hamza as the AD carry, Venoms as support, and Skifter as the sub. Today we have Pyrus or Elsa from Frozen, the mid laner. Would you like to have a short introduction?
Yeah, but I think a lot of people who are probably going to be watching this know me. I'm Elsa. I've been around the competitive scene for a hot minute. I've been playing since probably such a long time. I used to play back in gold, like I was gold many years ago, and I've taken many breaks from league. But I've played consistently for a while, and back in 2022, like middle of 2022, I quit. Most of the people who are still playing still know me. So if you guys recognize me, hi, I'm Elsa. If not, I'm Elsa, and I'm the mid laner for Cosmos Wings.
All right, great. Now, I know that your team has some history to it. I don't know all the story, so I'd really love to hear kind of more about that. Like, how long have you guys known each other? How long have you guys played together? Any times you guys have played in leagues in the past? Anything like that, I would love to hear about.
Yeah. So for those who were around Titan Esports for a while being like since around 2022, we ended up winning Conqueror. I think it was summer 2022, so almost exactly 2 years ago. And the lineup we had back then was myself top lane, T Splash jungle, Sean. Most of you know him, Sean Epi. He goes by Epi as well, the Epic champion or whatever. He was mid, and then Hamza and Venoms were both bot lane still. And we actually won that league back then. As for personally, like that's how long we've been playing League together, I should say, on a team competitively. And then as personally, everyone on our team has known each other for a long time. We met Jaquavis more recently, like in that time that we took a break from competitive League. We met him. He's really funny, and he's like new to the whole thing. So like we're kind of getting him into it with this split. But everybody else has known each other for many years. For example, I've known Venoms for since that kid was almost 13, maybe a little bit younger, and I was like 15 back then. I've known Hamza for a little bit less time than that. I've known T Splash almost my whole life. So yeah, like I have a lot of history with most of the people on our team, and I love them all. So
Yeah, that sounds great to hear, both in terms of you guys playing and just as a story as a whole. So, with all of that experience together, I definitely am going to say that I probably underestimated you guys, but I doubt you guys did. So, I want to hear what were your guys' expectations for the team for the split?
yeah, so going into the split, I think I don't think any of us really took it as a major surprise that we were being like in quote unquote underrated. I think the rating made sense given how it had been a while since we last played. Like I said, it was like 2022, I think, mid 2022, so almost exactly 2 years. And a lot of the players who we played with back then or against just like haven't like they stopped playing, and if they are still playing, they don't really play competitive anymore. And if they are still playing competitive, they've probably ranked out. But like all of us took a break completely, so we all kind of stayed the same skill level. So like we're back in the same skill level. So for those people who did know us, they rated us pretty high. For those that didn't, pretty low. And then for those that knew some of us, for example, you, Prophet, knowing me, I was like a really good top laner. And then you look at the like you see a top laner that no one knows, like who is this
Mm-hmm.
guy, right? Like who's Jaquavis? And then you
True.
see me mid. So I think it makes sense that people were a little bit weary in our team. They're like, oh, this seems whatever. They're probably okay. And it makes sense to me to focus on the players who've been consistently good for like this whole time lasting through our break. So yeah, I mean, expectations for us to answer the question a bit better. I think we are confident in ourselves. There was definitely a bit of mystery around how well we would do against like the better teams. Also because, like we said, Jaquavis is really new to it, um, and I'm mid, and I I was not great at mid even like 2 months ago, and yeah, like and all of us took a break. So I think expectations for us were we're gonna go in, we're gonna try and win. If we don't win, we're not surprised like at all. And if we do, we're also not surprised because like we know we're capable. So I hope that answers the question.
Yeah, absolutely it does. I think that gives not just the question, but I would say extra. Kind of hearing the thought process as a whole was nice. So
Yeah.
absolutely, great answer. All right, so speaking of you swapping from top lane to mid lane, you said that you weren't feeling that great about it even 2 months ago. What happened in that 2 months, and how was that transition for you?
Yeah. So are you asking like what happened to like make me switch to mid?
Oh, yeah, absolutely that too. I would love to hear about, but also like, are you feeling better about it now?
Oh,
What happened in those 2 months?
yeah. Okay. So what happened to make me switch to mid was like kind of nothing. Um, I had been wanting to play mid. I wanted to try it because every throughout my time playing League, I would always like try playing mid, and then I would be like, oh, I hate this. I don't want to play this because I would fight like a really good Fizz or something, and I'm like, this is so stupid. I'm gonna go like bash my head against Sion top or something, and that was more fun to me. But I wanted to actually give it a shot. And when we had met Jaquavis, we met him through a different game, and we became good friends with him. And he also lane swapped because he was a support, and then he Venoms is not really willing to play anything other than support. So I told Jaquavis, I was like, hey, I kind of want to try mid. Like, what roles would you be interested besides support? Like, are you willing to lane swap if we did do this team? Because this is like preliminary. He was like, I'm down. I could just go top. Like, is that an option? And I was like, yes, it is an option. But at first we were like, why don't you try jungle? Because T Splash wants to try top. So he tried jungle. He was not good at jungle. He didn't like jungle, and he asked, "Can I go top?" And I was like, "Yeah, we can try top." And so we tried top, and at first it went pretty bad, but it was more fun for him, so we just kept him top. And then it all sort of worked out that way. As for myself, yeah, I was pretty terrible at first, man. I would lose every lane. I like I had no confidence. I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. All these champs are cringe. Like I don't want to fight Fizz. I don't want to fight like these assassins that blow me up so fast.
It's Kiana for
But
me. Hate that
yeah, yeah.
champ.
I tried to play Kiana. I think if you look at my OP.GG, you would see I have like 20 games. I think I've only
Mm-hmm.
won like 6 of them. Like it's so bad. I tried to play it because people would kept destroying me on it. But anyways, yeah, I was feeling pretty bad, but I put in like so much work, more than I probably should have, to like get decent quickly. And so now it feels great. Now mid is really fun. At first it was not by any means. So that's kind of been what my lane swap has been like. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I mean, in the end, it is just going to come down to how much you put into it, and it sounds like you had some basis from top lane and just needed to, learn about how to play against some cringe champions mid lane.
Yeah. Yeah, some of the matches are so insufferable, and also like a lot of the time mid people will like you'll find yourself in this matchup where neither person is, because top lane people are trying to kill each other all the time. Like there's like these micro aggressive plays happening all the time. Like people will let minions die under a tower before the tower dies, and then they'll kill the tower after the cannon dies. That doesn't happen mid. Mid is just people are just farming. They just hit stuff. They push the wave and then they roam. I'm not used to that, so I had to get
That
used
is
to that
different.
too. Yeah, it's a very different play style, like completely 180 in my opinion.
Oh, it is. I mean, I think that that's a great way to think about it because, I mean, it's always said top lane's that island, but until you kind of really experience both ends of it, I think that there is a huge difference. So that must have
Yeah,
been interesting for you.
yeah, for sure.
All right. Now, with that transition and all of that experience in top lane, maybe some champions that some other mid laners might not know how to play or play against, do you think that that is actually a potential like benefit for your team?
I like to think so, because I always tell my team like whenever we're in a draft or something, inevitably being like newer to the role, Jaquavis is like not he doesn't have a massive champion pool, and I think anybody who like scouts him will know that. But for me, I'm always just like, hey guys, if we need like a beef boy top, or not top, like a beef boy top laner, I can just do that mid. I can just go like Aatrox or something if I have to. If we wanna, like if Jaquavis gets banned out and like he's forced on Malphite, but we need like an AD bruiser or something, I can always go Aatrox or Set or something. And we haven't gotten to that point yet, but I do think there is a big benefit to just knowing that if bad comes to worse, I could just pick some super comfortable champ like Aatrox or Riven or something and just slam it mid and just go and see how it goes. And I think a lot of a really nice thing about stuff like that is that a lot of mid laners have no experience fighting Aatrox. I mean, who plays Aatrox mid or Riven?
Not
So you
many
can kind of
people.
surprise people. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna change the gears a little bit. I'm really curious about this, and we're not just gonna talk about your Wednesday game because I know on Monday you played another team that I thought was on near the top of the teams that are currently in this league. So you played two of what I would consider the hardest teams, at least how I had them rated, and you won both of those matchups. So I would love to hear your thoughts on both ID Honeyfruit that you played on the Eternal League on Monday, and the Bing Chiller Civil Standards roster that you played on Wednesday.
Yeah, for sure. So funny thing, going back a little bit to how I was saying, like, our expectations were pretty mixed for ourselves, but understood in regards to everyone else. When we went into that game on Monday against ID Honeyfruit, I had seen a lot of hype around that team. And I actually know a fair amount of people on that team. Like, I know Blingo XD, I know Xiao PP, how you say his name, right?
Yeah.
And I know Yeetloaf, and I know those three are pretty solid players. I did not know the bot lane. I didn't recognize them. But anyways, going into that match, I was confident. Like, I felt confident, and I'll talk a little bit more about why, like, a bit. But I felt confident. But I also, like, would not have been surprised whatsoever if we lost, just because, like, we have a new top laner. Like, two people are role swapped.
True.
And so we, like, went into it being like, guys, like, we can win, but if we don't, let's take it in stride and focus on improving. But like, the funny thing is, like, in our first game against ID Honeyfruit, we got destroyed, like, super destroyed. And so the spirits on the team, like, if it wasn't for us being good friends, it would be a catastrophe. But, like, everyone was good friends, and when half of us know each other for, like, a third or more of our lives, so we kind of kept it together, and no one really got tilted by, like, at all. So, like, the spirits are obviously low, not really knowing our own potential. And then we go into game 2, and we just win. Like, I don't want to say effortlessly, but, like, we certainly won pretty hard. And then game 3, we just, like, destroyed them. It was a bit of a surprise to ourselves, but it also wasn't, because, like I said, we were all confident, and we knew that the work we put in was like, there. But yeah, I hope that answers the question well enough. I think it was a surprise, but it wasn't at the same time. And the sort of emotional roller coaster of, like, feeling confident, get destroyed, oh shit, we suck, back to, like, oh, we just won the series super hard, was a crazy feeling.
Yeah, not a lot of teams, especially because there's so much turnover in these amateur leagues. You don't have that kind of knowledge that, like, okay, you're in this together, and we know we can turn this around. We know we can. So just hearing that, I mean, it really just shows that you guys are kind of different than a lot of these other teams.
Yeah, I think it's actually, like, a massive benefit that we have is, and that, like, something that you just cannot create on a team of people who barely know each other, is, like, we just have the time. Not so much with Jaquavis, but, like, we've become good friends with him, so it kind of works out. But everyone else, like, it's really hard to tilt the four of us from each other. And the worst type of tilt that might happen is, like, someone makes a bad play and we clown on him, like, you suck, dude. Like, what's wrong with you? And then, like, that kind of gets, but it's not very serious. It's just, like, we're just clowning each other.
You're ribbing. Friendly banter.
And I think that kind of, like, mental resilience is, in my experience playing on teams of people I don't really know, impossible. You just can't replace years of fun and good times with each other in such a short time. It's just a benefit to playing with your friends.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds great. So something else I want to know about that Monday match is, what were your thoughts on the opponents themselves? Do you think that team was a strong team? Do you think that they're maybe a little bit weaker than some people think?
I think. Would you like for me to talk about the players themselves, or just the team as a whole, or both?
Whatever you think you have any kind of insight on.
Okay, yeah. So I think that the team itself is like not bad. I think I am gonna go out on a limb and say I'll probably get shit for this, but like I do think they are overrated. It felt to me like they had no plan. We had a super thorough plan going into that. Like we knew exactly what we were picking if this champ gets picked or whatever. Like we had a very thorough plan. It felt like they didn't, and also it felt like the matchups that we had were pretty good. To make if that makes sense. So their bot lane was a big surprise. They were much better than we expected, and there was like a very rude awakening in that first game. Like we got totally destroyed by their Jinx, so hard that everyone was like, "All right, Jinx is not getting through this draft," and like so that kind of turned things on its head a bit. So we didn't expect how good their bot lane was. Their bot lane is really good. I think their bot lane is probably not talked about enough because I think people are talking about Xiao PP a lot and Blingo and Yeetloaf, and I think the reason why is because they're known players, and they're certainly great players. But I think that bot lane is like hardcore their best. They're like their strongest core. As for Blingo, I think Blingo and Jaquavis are very similar players. They're both like weak side tanks. I think in a matchup like that, not much happens. Like when Malphite is fighting Ornn or something, there's not a ton of skill expression. So it kind of just boils down to like who gets the better engage or who knows how to play the map better. And I think, like I said, I'll talk about that more later. But like a lot of the work that's been put in by Jaquavis helps a lot in that regard. I genuinely believe that Jaquavis outplayed Blingo like pretty hard in terms of the map and stuff, and I was like so proud and I was so happy to see him doing that. It was so cool. As for the jungle, I think Xiao played super well, at least in game one. Like like the Morgana pick, Giga destroyed our draft like so hard, and it was just a catastrophe in draft. Like we got draft Kingdom on. And as for the other two games, I think T-Splash played it fine. I think the jungle was pretty boring, and it more or less came down to like mid and bot lane in that series. So to wrap up what I'm saying, good team. I think they're overrated, and the people who are really the glue, like the really like solid players, are not being talked about enough. Their bot lane, all Gucci, like the Lucian Jinx player that we were fighting, is like crazy good mechanically. Is his name Spartan? Yeah, super good player, yeah. Like crazy. Yeah, and their support's good too. So.
Oh no, sorry, all Gucci and Spartans. Those are the two players.
Oh, my bad. Well, both of them.
Yeah.
All Gucci and Spartans, they're both super solid. Like we were very, very surprised by how good they were, and I think they deserve more respect. Like people need to talk about them more.
Hey, I agree. I mean, for the record, I watched that series. And I actually completely agree in terms of I thought that you guys went in with a plan, and I'm not so sure that Honeyfruit went in with that same level of preparedness, but you guys played great.
I don't think so. I this is kind of a funny thing to say. I mean, I think people watching this would find this interesting. They just like I messaged them because we were doing coin flips in Eternal instead of like in Conqueror we're doing like, you know, it's like seeds, whatever. Anyways, in Conqueror, the side UR is determined by the spreadsheet, and in Eternal, they were saying, just coin flip it. So I reached out to Xiao PP. I was like, hey, you want to do a coin flip? He was like, no, just pick your side. I was like, are you sure? And he was like, yeah. Okay. So we picked, I don't even know. We picked red side.
Red, yeah.
Yeah, we picked red side because because a lot of our drafting went into red side because we expected to lose the coin flip. So we expected to lose the coin flip, and we're like, yeah, we'll go red side. That's most of our plan. And then they just picked red side.
Two games in a row.
And it just felt we got blue side, yeah. So it was like now we just get to pick Jinx after the catastrophe that was game one. So yeah, no, definitely felt like they either egoed on us or didn't plan or both, and they are probably sorry for it. So it is what it is.
Yeah, and now let's go to the actual main event for this interview. Or in terms of the games for this interview, and that is your 2-0 of the Bing Chillers Civil Standards.
Yeah. Okay. That series was way crazier. I don't know if anyone saw what happened in that series, but I'll talk about that next. As for to answer similarly to the last, as for the team, I think the team is pretty good. I'll talk about this next thing as well, but I think the team is really good. I think similar to the ID team, the names get recognized more than players, and obviously names matter. They carry weight. People do stuff, and then you see how well they do things, and then you remember those. But I also think a similar thing's happening on the Being Chillers team as the ID team, where the people who everyone says are like the carries are not. Like for example, I don't feel in game one Technics had like a 6-0 lead. He got a quadra kill early game, and was like 10-2 or something at one point in the game, and he managed to lose that game. And that's just wild. Like this guy has been hyped up as like the best player ever, crazy jungler. He is, in my opinion, not that. And same goes for Rendleman mid. I think the best players on that team are the bot lane. Again, I think Sybil is good. I think everyone knows Sybil is good. I think their support, his name was Water, I think.
That's their sub that was playing because Nahor.
Yeah, that was their
there.
sub. Because we prepared to fight. Is it Nahor?
Nahor.
Yeah, Nahor.
I think
so
that's how
we
to say
prepared
it.
to fight him, but Water was pleasantly pretty good, and I think Sybil and Water were both good.
I mean, Sybil's been around a while.
Yeah,
I think everyone knows they're
he's been
pretty
around
good
forever.
too.
Yeah, he's been around forever. I remember Sybil from forever ago. So, yeah, I definitely think the mid jungle was like a massive letdown. I don't feel like they did anything in either game, despite Technics being super fed. Also, the Scion mid pick is so cringe. Like, what do you? Anyway, that's so bad in my opinion. But anyway,
you should be used to. You should be used to Scion.
Yeah, I mean, well, I was used to it. I picked Lux, and I think I had like 600 gold from first strike by like 15 minutes.
First strike against melee mids.
First strike against melee, so,
especially tanks.
Yeah, for sure. I think that team is a good team. Probably, in my opinion, better than ID was. But I also can't tell. I think Sybil and the support Water held it together in those games for sure. But yeah, the first game slipped away from them. And game 2 was just a stomp from us. So for those who didn't watch it, in game 1 they were up about I think 8,000 gold. They looked in like match victory. They were up 8,000 gold and threw at Baron because Technics. I think it was Technics and someone else. They just like kept hitting Baron, and then they like hesitated at 2,000 health. So I Lux ulted it. And then T-Splash went in, and we just stole it from like 2,500 HP.
Oh, that hurts.
I don't know why they did that. That was anyway. Yeah, that game slipped away from them, and then game 2 was just over. We just hard stomped them. So that was a surprise to us. We expected to have to fight harder than we did against ID to win that series, and we just ended up winning. So
are you talking about both or just ID?
We expected to have to fight harder against Being Chillers than we did against ID,
gotcha.
and we didn't have to. It was easier than it was fighting ID.
I think no matter what, you and both of those teams, I'm still going to have all three of you ranked high. I still think they're all three good rosters. But I think it's very, very apparent after week 1 that I have drastically undervalued you guys.
Yeah, like I said, that's fine. No, I think they're both good too. I think you've already talked about this in most of the interviews so far, but yeah, Group B is a nightmare.
Oh yeah,
super nightmare. So I think there are going to be good teams in that group that don't make it because of that group, and we could be one of them. Like I have to acknowledge and stay humble and say like we could just get the bed for the next 4 weeks and then now we're out. So yeah, we have to. I think every team has to try hard and like stay proactive if they want to get out of that group because that group is going to be hard.
Every week matters. Practice. Every week matters, Group B.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. But since you brought it up, do you have any other thoughts on the group besides the fact that it's a bloodbath?
I haven't like honestly looked at it a terrible amount. Let me go look at it again.
Yeah, take your time.
I know one thing just off of memory. I know we're fighting Dorado. Is it Iota?
Yes,
that's
Iota.
the one that has K-Peps and stuff.
K-Peps,
that's gonna be super
Masoof.
Fun. Yeah, because I know Masoof is considered like
Kush,
the best, right?
Dibble, Hyperfocus. Those are the. They're good. I'm sure they're good.
Yeah, they seem really good. I know like Masoof is considered like the best. I have absolutely no idea how his matchup with Jaquavis will turn out.
Ugly.
That's going to
be
interesting
my guess.
For sure.
I'm not going to lie. I'll say that with probably ugly. I would say that with Masuf
maybe.
against pretty much anyone, but especially
Yeah,
knowing
no.
that they're a tank player, I'm worried.
Yeah, for sure. I'm worried too, a little. But like I said, Jaquavis has put in so much effort. In fact, I'll talk about that like at near the end. But yeah, that matchup, I don't know how that will end up. I like K-Peps. I think K-Peps is a really good player, and I'm not just saying that because he believed in us. Like I think that guy's always been really cool, really chill. I think I played with him in like an All Stars match or something. He was like super nice guy and whatever. As for the rest of the players, I don't actually think I know them. I don't recognize a lot of
Um,
people now.
the OG Kush, I'm pretty sure he was on one of the Dorado rosters that
Oh
played in
yeah, I
CCS
recognize that
with
name.
you.
Yeah, I recognize that name absolutely. Yeah, I think it was Dibble and Hyper Focus. I do not remember them at all. I don't even know who they are, and not in a disrespectful way. They seem like they're newer to the scene, or at least they weren't around on like bigger teams whenever I played.
That might be true. I know Dibble's been around, but Hyper Focus I think is definitely on the newer end.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, and you know that's a cool thing in my opinion. It's super cool to see new players coming into the competitive scene
And we see a
because I
lot of
root
them.
for its success. Yeah,
We have a lot of them, 24 teams, and honestly, I don't know how many of the players I know.
yeah, yeah. No, I look at a lot of these. I mean, I'm looking at it now. I look at a lot of these teams and like half of these players, I could look at them and be like, I don't even know who these people are. Like all of DOV Monarch, I don't know a single one of these people. You know, and who knows? They could be like crazy good, and that they're the next Masuf, right? Like they're the next like super crazy player that everyone knows. Who knows? I guess
We
we'll see.
don't.
Yeah,
That's what's exciting about this, though. 24 team league, so much talent, so many new faces, and we've only gotten 1 week, and we've already gotten crazy upsets, and man, it's gonna be a good split.
yeah, I think so too. It's gonna be really fun.
All right, any other thoughts on your group? Like, I think that Iota is, at least from what I saw, I thought Iota was probably that other form of the top three that I had with the other two you've already beaten.
Any thoughts on the group? I said it already. The group just seems
Absolutely.
insanely stacked.
Oh yeah.
Like insanely stacked. I even think the teams that people are not talking about are like decent. Teams like Sensei Squad, Inari, and Subatomic Gaming Axion and all that, XG Saturn. Like these seem like pretty decent teams.
Probably playoff
Like,
teams
just when
if
you
they're
look at
not
their
in Group
players.
B.
Sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was saying probably playoff teams for sure if they're not in Group B.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like they could totally make it to playoffs. I think anyone in Group B could. I mean, just looking at like the ranks and like the players and like what they play like right now, they seem like super solid. I would say the weakest team is probably Sensei Squad, but they like even just looking at them, they could probably get out of another group.
Now,
Or
I will
contend.
point out on Sensei Squad, they might look like the weakest, but besides you guys, it seems, they do have the most continuity, which I think you guys already show. Mix that with some talent, and man, it looks good.
Yeah, well, I didn't know that. So if that's true, then yeah, like this group is just a nightmare. Like everyone here is just so good. I think this is like a crazy group, and that's not to say that the other groups aren't good. I feel pretty confident when I say like I think there's going to be some surprises out of the other groups.
Oh, yeah.
I think some of the other groups are going to have teams that are like super good, and I'm not even talking about like the ones people are acknowledging. Like I think the one that Rutledge and Sean are both on are two different teams, but the ones that
Yeah,
Rutledge and
Sanj
Sean are
Fan
on.
Club and OED, Optimal
Yeah,
Esports
those two
Dynasty.
teams are obviously good, and I think anybody who knows the scene can realistically expect them to make it out of those groups. But I mean, even the other teams, like I think there will be some surprises. I think there's going to be some really good teams that make a decent run coming out of those groups. So we'll have to see.
Yeah,
I look
I
forward to it.
completely agree. It's going to be a lot to watch. So I'm going to focus back in on your team a little bit. How often do you guys practice?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I think this is a good time to finally talk about that thing I said I wanted to.
Yes, please.
We have been practicing pretty much every night. Not scrimming though. We've just been like we have like a bit of a routine that we do, where like we all get together, we talk about certain things we want to practice, and then we just go into normal games because we all have really decent normal game MMR, and just like play game after game after game. And we know that it's like probably not the best form of practice, and I wouldn't even recommend other teams do it, but it's been working for us. So we've been doing that like almost every day. We're taking a break now because we won our series. Today being Thursday, so this is like day after the series. So yeah, we're taking a break, but we were playing just about every day. And then as for the thing I was referencing, the amount, like the work ethic on this team is the highest I've ever seen everybody. I think the break from League made that easier. Speaking for myself and Jaquavis in particular, like the two of us have been spending, not together, like we usually do it on our own time or whatever, but just so much time like watching pro games and learning about our own roles and just raw amount of games played. Like the work ethic is crazy. Especially, I'm gonna actually like shout him out and say, like, especially from Jaquavis, he's like putting in so much more time than everyone else. Yeah, I think he's earned how good he's gotten. Because he was already a good player, he just like didn't play the game a ton.
Yeah.
But he has like really buckled down and like really gotten pretty decent pretty fast. And I don't think we've seen his limits yet. Like we don't really know what they are. But the work ethic is there. He has the fire in him and like the work ethic to be the best player in the league top lane, for sure. And that was why earlier I like when we were talking about the matchup with Masuf or Masuf. Is it Masuf or Masuf?
I think it's Masuf, but
okay, yeah. So the matchup with Masuf.
You can correct
I'll just
me
say
if I'm
that.
wrong later.
Yeah. We'll find out. I'm sure he'll ping us and like flame us. But the matchup against him, I don't know how it's going to go. I think Masuf has so much more experience, obviously. But if there's anyone that I look at and I'm like, I know they'll work hard to like do something against what people consider the best, it'd be Jaquavis. He just tries so hard all the time, and I think that's really cool. It's something I really appreciate. It's kind of a breath of fresh air because the only other team I felt that way was the last time I played on this same team with Sean, and Sean tried really hard too, and I think he punched way above his weight, and now he's like a superstar. Everyone knows him. And deserved. He deserves to have that recognition. So, yeah, I think that's how I feel about it. I think our whole team tries super hard. We spend a ton of time preparing, a ton of time like doing draft prep, a ton of time doing everything, and then obviously for the two people who are new to their roles, like we've just spent so much time playing games. And yeah, I actually think another funny thing is so since everyone had taken a break from League, no one had really played almost at all in the past couple of splits, outside of me playing in one split, which was before I like really quit. So everyone had to play like 100-something games.
Oh yeah, to even be qualified.
Yeah, to even be qualified. And so all that was kind of where like the work ethic started. Was we all was like, all right, well we have to play. And we all just ran through them hard. I think that was a big bonus, was just like not only were we motivated, but like we had no choice. So it's like play or you can't, like play the game a lot or you can't play in the first place. So if you have to put the work in to even play. And so I think the momentum carried over after we were done with our games. It was a sigh of relief. We don't have to play solo queue anymore. Now we can do stuff that's more fun. So yeah, solo queue sucks, man.
Yeah. I have like 5 games this split.
I won't blame you. I don't play anymore. It's so bad.
Oh goodness! But you don't have to. You don't have to.
Yeah,
not so much. Go play normals. Go play with the team.
Yeah, just play with the team.
Oh goodness! All right. Well, that sounds great. Wow. Actually, just man, while I hear about that level of commitment and desire to kind of improve and that work ethic, it just gets me excited to see the heights that you guys are going to go, because I think right now you're probably, spoiler to you, because my tier list is going to come out before the interview, but I think you guys are a top 2 team, and I'm considering putting you guys at 1 just from hearing this from you now. We'll see if I do, but that kind of thing, it gets me.
Yeah, that's cool to hear though. Like it makes me happy because I think it was such a swift crushing of doubts to be honest with you.
It was.
Just because we fought two of like the considered best teams right away, or two of the widely considered best teams right away. So it was a very swift crushing of doubts. And so now we have to like switch gears from underdogs to
targets
to the
on your
people to
back.
beat. Yeah, now the target's on our back. That's a weird feeling, but yeah, no, that's cool, and I'm glad people see it a different way, because I think we did put the work in. I think we deserve it.
Yeah, I would say so as well. I mean, not just from the obvious wins from the week, but just from this interview, I can tell that you guys have definitely earned everything you have gained so far.
Yeah.
With
It's been a month and a half. Sorry to interrupt you.
No,
I was
you're
gonna say
good.
it's been like about 2 months, maybe like a month and a half or longer of just like league grind, grimy gamer grind.
That
I'm
makes
just,
me
like,
so sad.
trying to get as good as possible in a really short time.
And 100 solo queue games.
Yeah,
Oh,
over
I feel so
100
bad.
for some of them. Over 100. I think Jaquavis had to play like 100 something.
Truly, shout out to all of you.
135 or something. Yeah, it was crazy.
That's
Anyway, as you were saying.
that's mental training right there.
Yeah. Everyone had to do that except for me. So, yeah. Shout out to all of them. Anyway.
Yeah, they deserve it. Shout out for that. I don't know too many people that can get that many games in that short amount of time and keep some of their sanity. All right, so looking ahead, because you've already had a great start, but now it's about that consistency and doing it every week, which is going to be necessary to get out of Group B. What are your thoughts on your next opponents? If you've looked so far, it is only Thursday, and so what do you think about Subatomic Gaming Axion? Axion? No.
I think it's Axion, yeah. I don't have too many thoughts on them. Like I said, we're kind of taking our break, so we haven't like spent a ton of time looking at them yet. We certainly are going to. Looking at their roster, the only player I recognize is Goat Lista, and I don't even recognize them because I know them. I just have seen a few clips of them, like in like the general chat or something. I think in one of the interviews, because I watched all of your interviews that you've already done.
Thanks.
Yeah, they're really good, by the way. I hope this one is too.
I'm sure it will be.
Yeah, so I watched all of them, and I think someone mentioned something about Golissa and that, so I recognize that name, and I saw a clip of them. They seem really good. So I definitely like respect to that guy. I think we'll definitely be respecting him, and yeah, I think we're gonna treat every team the same way. You know, fight for your life, no matter who it is, no matter how good or bad they look. So I look forward to fighting them. I think they deserve respect, just like everyone else in Group B, and we'll see when we get there how it turns out.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm interested to see, are you guys going to keep that momentum? Because I think that there's no team that has more momentum than you guys right now.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it'd be crazy if they did, though. That'd be, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, with that said, I'm going to kind of just wrap this up, but real quick, I want to give you the floor if there's anything you want to say. You've already given out some shout-outs. You might not have too much more to add, but if there is anything you want to say, anything that you think I might have missed that you think would be interesting to say, anything at all, I want to give you the floor to say whatever you want. Message to the league, whatever you want.
Yeah. No. I mean, shout out to all the people. Like we have a very healthy and excellent group of friends who always are there to watch our games and cheer us on. And so I love all of them. Love all you guys. Like if you guys watch this interview, I'm sure someone will post it in our Discord. And then we'll all get clowned, or I'll get clowned for it. So shout out to everyone. I mean, love all you guys as always. Love all my teammates as always. Shout out to Titan Esports. I mean, you guys have been around forever. I've played in this league like multiple times. I look forward to continue playing, win or lose. You know, if we shit the bed from here on, lose every series, doesn't matter. We had a good time already, and I think that was enough to like appreciate it. So I look forward to playing. And I think that's it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's great. With that said, what other team, to all the teams out there, I want you guys to look at just how far teams can come with this effort, and I wanna know which of you is going to join Cosmos Light as the next up and coming team to just really knock off a better opponent. Well, Pyrus, is that what you want to go by? I'm used to Elsa, I'm not going to lie.
You can say Elsa, it's all good. I think it's probably funny hearing like someone who's clearly like a male like myself. Hi, I'm Elsa. Like it's probably like weird. You can call me either. Elsa is completely fine.
Well, I remember you as Elsa from Frozen, playing on Frozen, so that's
Yeah, that was
that's
good
a
times.
core memory for me.
Yeah.
But thank you for coming. You were great. I think that I got a lot of great insight, and I think a lot of people are gonna really enjoy just hearing about the camaraderie your team has, that closeness, and just the unique situation that your team has in particular, just being those really old friends. And I hope that a lot of teams kind of reflect on that and see kind of the value in it. But thanks a lot for coming out. You were great. For everyone else listening, thanks for tuning in. And I hope you guys have a good night. All right. Bye-bye.